What up though? Welcome to my show. We are getting ready to make us some delicious flatbreads today. Can you get excited? Okay, I'm excited. So what we're gonna make are steak flatbreads. It's a play on some steak and potatoes, a little blue cheese and a Hollandaise sauce with a creamy poached egg. But the first thing we're going to do is start cooking our meat and potatoes. So I have a little seasoning here that I made up that's consisting of sea salt, a little thyme, some crushed red pepper because I like a little spice. And we're gonna go ahead on and get that going. So come on, let's go. Just want to make sure each piece of meat has some of the seasonings on it. Not too much because we're going to add so much flavor to this. We don't want it too salty. So the first thing we're going to put on our grill is our potatoes. We got our grill nice and hot. We're going to add to this our potatoes, but I also have a little olive oil on here. And while our potatoes are cooking, we are going to add just a little bit of salt. All right, you see these potatoes nice and golden. We're gonna move them to the side. Let them continue to cook. Gonna add these onions. Boom shakalaka, you see that? That's what I'm talking about, that sizzle. Add just a little bit of salt to that as well. Dancing, just go dancing. All right, and while we're waiting on our potatoes and onions to cook, I'm going to go ahead on and start roasting some cherry tomatoes. All I have on here is a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, salt and pepper, and some fresh herbs such as thyme and basil. But of course, feel free to use whatever type of herbs you like. We're gonna roast them at 400 for about 10 to 15 minutes, just until they start to blister just a little and all the creamy goodness comes out. Yes, for the steak, yeah. Now the steak that I'm using today is a ribeye, thinly cut by my butcher, but I appreciate the fatty goodness of a ribeye when doing this particular dish. All right, now that our steak and potatoes and onions have cooked nicely, we're gonna add our Worcestershire sauce, as I like to call it, my Woo sauce, that Wu-Tang. Took for a long time, I couldn't say that word. And let that just marry for about a minute. And I'm gonna go ahead on and reduce the heat down to low while those seasonings come together. All right, next thing we're gonna make is our flatbread using simply 4 ingredients: self-rising flour, plain yogurt, salt, and extra virgin olive oil. I have created a little well here with my, this is so funny. I don't even have the top off. You see this? I left the top on. This is so cute. I have to laugh at myself. I mean, damn. So yeah, we're gonna add just a little extra virgin olive oil. And I just want y'all to know that the people behind the camera are laughing at me. I don't even care. So I have 3 heaping spoons of self-rising flour, created a well, added some salt to it, and also added 3 heaping spoons of plain yogurt. And then I just poured in a little extra virgin olive oil after I got the top off. And I'm gonna take my pastry scraper here, and I'm just gonna start working it all towards the center into the yogurt. And I know you're thinking like, how are these ingredients going to make a flatbread? But trust me, it's going to be delicious. And you want to work it until it starts to come together and form a little bit of a dough. It's going to be a little wet, but it's okay. You can add extra flour if needed. You see how it's coming together? Oh yeah, babe. And that's what we're looking for. Something like this. We're gonna set that to the side, and we're gonna put our hands in just a little bit of flour, and we're gonna work with our best tools, which are our hands. We're gonna start kneading it just a little bit. Try not to make a mess all over yourself like I'm doing. And squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze, and squeeze. It up. It's gonna have the consistency of like a biscuit almost. You can sit it to the side. Clean up your area. And we're going to knead some more. Until you get this nice little ball. And then you're gonna kind of log it just a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. And using your pastry cutter or your knife, whatever you're using, cut it in half. We're gonna set this to the half side, and we're going to clean our hands before we get started on the next step. We're gonna add a little flour to our rolling pin, and we're going to start rolling out our dough. Like I stated, it does not have to be perfectly round. I think it looks so much better when it looks rustic and it looks homemade. It's not something that's perfect, and people will believe you actually made it. And of course, if it starts to stick a little, just put a little bit more flour on your board. So if you want to make these as an appetizer, you can actually take a cookie cutter and cut them small. Or if you're making it for yourself and maybe a +1, this is perfect. This size is perfect. It's not a round, so I can't say about a 5 or a 6-inch round, but get a shape in it that you're going to be satisfied with. But do make sure that your dough is consistent, the same thickness all the way through. And what we're going to do with this interesting shape of dough is we're going to put it on our griddle. No oil, just a dry griddle. All right, so when you're cooking your flatbread, it's going to have a nice crisp bottom like a tortilla. And doesn't this look homemade? Come on guys, you cannot tell me that I did not make this homemade. I did not buy this at the store. It's nice and crispy, but still has a little bit of a bite to it. The next thing we're going to do is poach our egg. I have about a quart of water with a little vinegar and salt. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You better get that egg. Next thing we're gonna make is our Hollandaise sauce. It's gonna consist of 3 yolks, a tablespoon of lemon juice, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a pinch of pepper, and because we're going to elevate the flavors, we're going to add 1 clove of garlic and a little bit of basil, and of course a 1/2 cup of warm butter. Now that we have all of our elements together, we're going to go ahead on and start plating our flatbread. So I have here some good Stilton blue cheese. We're gonna put it down first with a spread it on our flatbread. The next thing we're going to do is add our steak, potatoes and onions. Don't be skimpy. This is the perfect little brunch food, by the way. And we have our delicious poached egg. We're going to nestle right there on the top. And our creamy garlicky basil hollandaise sauce. Just let that pour down. You remember these delicious tomatoes that we roasted off? They're nice and cooled down. We're also going to add them to the side. Just as something to munch on with our flatbread. Finish it off with just a little bit of basil. Oh, what the hell, add it to the tomatoes too. And I do hope that you will try this recipe. I mean, it's absolutely delicious. I'm also going to show you something really quickly that we can do with this flatbread. So stay tuned. All right, and as promised, I'm going to show you something else you can do with your delicious flatbread. This is going to be a little play on something sweet and spicy and savory all at the same time. I have here some mascarpone cheese sweetened with honey. I use the nice organic raw honey. Save the bees. And I just whipped it up a little bit. And as you see, I cut these particular flat browns in little rounds, because you can serve these for appetizers, or it can even be a dessert if you don't mind the little bit of savoriness. And again, it could also be a brunch food as well. And on top of that mascarpone cheese, I have a delicious strawberry sauce that I made using red wine, strawberries, and sugar. It's delicious. It can go well on PBJ. You can use it as a sauce with French toast or pancakes, ice cream sundaes. And I'm putting only about a teaspoon on each. And it's okay if it runs. It can be a little messy. Who doesn't like a little messy food? I know I do. And I have here a spicy sausage. I get from my butcher. I actually just get a house blend that they make. And I, of course, get the hot version because I like it spicy. I'm sure your local grocery store or butcher has a house blend sausage that they make. Most stores do. At least the ones I know I frequent do. And just because we like our food pretty, we're going to add a little greenery. I have some nice fresh parsley here. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't mind seeing this on a party platter when I go to my next event. Please be sure you try these recipes, and don't forget to like and subscribe my page. Thank you.